Good morning. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of 2026, and it's in English. It is good morning. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of February, 2026. I apologize. My name is Dan Rhesus. I'm dyslexic, but that's not why I made this mistake. I made this mistake because of my sheer and utter excitement that I have completed the first phase of a 3-phase project called the Logic Revolution. To bring on the Logic Revolution, phase 3 includes something called a meeting. Phase 2 does not include the meeting. Phase 1 is complete. I have a lot of jokes. Phase 1 and phase on sound very similar. So there are a series of jokes that I can make. But the reality is very simple. My name is Dan Rhesus, and I believe that I work harder and smarter than any human being I've ever met in my life. This channel is designed to show you that one human being with 2 laptops, a trustworthy assistant that can do the administrative tasks that are laborious and difficult. Ms. Resnick, say hi.
Hello.
She is going to be my co-host for this legaltainment. So in case you're wondering what I have completed and what I have done is I have combined my ability to work really hard and do my job with my YouTube channel while having Ms. Resnick a part of my life and not a part of my life at the same time, which means that I have appeased and completed all phases that are necessary for every single one of my haters and doubters to shut the fuck up. This is nothing more than a beta test. This environment is not my right environment. My environment is at 19 Fordham Road. But because of the crimes that I've been a victim to, I've had to re-engineer the entire communication process and completely break the court system in order to rebuild them using artificial intelligence and recognizing the power that pro se litigants have in a world of ChatGPT. It's not very complicated, but what you're about to see me do is film a series of segments that really represents how I work and what I do. I will release my videos at the end of the night. In between the videos, I will feature a series of vignettes that are nothing more than comic relief in regards to what is actually happening in my life. Because the truth is, the stress is overwhelming. It's overwhelming for the audience to even watch and recognize the reality that I was denied on all of my order to show cause actions yesterday in family court. Yet at the same time, my case was dismissed. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are an enemy of Dan Rhesus, or are going or about to go against me in any litigation, the worst possible news you can receive is this, right here. The one and only chance you had at beating me in any form of litigation, strategy, or gamesmanship revolved around having my wife be a part of the mean team and perpetrate a series of lies in order to bring me down. That has completely backfired on her. And the reason why I say this is because, Jamie, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Do you like your new role?
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Do you understand the concept of what I've finished?
Yes, I have.
Okay. What is your opinion on it?
Well, I think that you did a lot through a lot of really hard situations, and it's time for you to
Let's
take the next
refocus.
step.
Let's refocus. Okay, Jamie? I'm going to ask the question again. This process right here, within 45 square feet.
Sure.
This process right here, in case anyone's wondering mathematically, me with one assistant in front of the camera is able to replace approximately 400 human beings. That is the equivalent to the amount of work that 2 people are able to do. I will show you this over the course of the next couple of weeks by doing nothing more than my job. What I have done is I have combined my job, my life, and my art in one coherent, symbolic format. What is your opinion on that? As being a big integral part of this process. See, Robin Quivers.
I think that it's a huge step in a direction that.
Stop sounding like
I
not
think
Jamie. Give me an actual.
I'm excited for the next step.
Do you like what I've done?
I love what you've done. I can't believe
Is it
how
smart?
organized.
Is it
yes,
not
I can't
smart?
believe how organized you are.
So
how
what do you? Why are
correct
you
the
going into the
processes is.
soliloquy about? See, look, ladies and gentlemen, what Jamie and I do is we bicker. That's the majority of what happens off screen, and a lot of my production is affected. But by having this recording and showing that, hey, any actions that you take that are outside of the lines of what I need you to take, the audience is going to see, and they're going to see one of two Jamies that I work with.
Okay.
The absolutely brilliant administrative assistant
Okay.
that works her ass off, and the human being who interjects her editorialization into each and every communication I ask her to make on my behalf.
Okay.
Those are two very different people.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Okay. Which one of the two people do you want to be?
The administrative assistant.
Okay. As the administrative assistant, the question is very direct.
Okay.
What is your opinion?
I find it to be much more productive and easy to work because we're much more organized. I find it to be.
Do you think
An
that it
amazing
is a
step.
smart idea
Extremely.
in order to bring everything together?
Absolutely.
Did you see this coming?
No.
Okay. So are you amazed or not amazed?
I'm amazed. I'm
Okay.
amazed because you kind of did it right in front of my eyes and I didn't even
You see,
it
what I'm
coming.
looking for, ladies and gentlemen, is a human being that says, hey Dan, what you have done is really amazing, it's brilliant, and it really puts a lot of the confusion that both me and the audience had as far as where are you going with all of this. And where I'm going with all of this is that the modern business practice, as I see it, I only started to engage in once I removed myself from my office space. And, oh, by the way, that's the movie for today is Office Space. And as a third or fourth employee, if I'm able to hire somebody named Lumberg, I will really complete. I'm serious. We need a Lumberg, and I'll give him a parking spot and everything. So essentially, my goal is to show everyone at home that my home was built to be my office while my children are not there, and to be a sanctuary and a green room for myself and my boys to really enjoy life without having to allow the outside world to affect us. And that is not to say that I'm trying to run some sort of a weird cult where I'm keeping my kids from other kids. I encourage my kids to bring friends into the house at any time. We hosted more families than our children hosted combined, meaning that my children, if you combine all of their play dates, my house hosted more times than all of those play dates that my kids had outside of the house. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I built my home especially for my children to have a really good time. I haven't been able to finish the backyard because of a bunch of issues, but office space and workspace were combined in one unified, harmonious, amazing business model that at every single day, once the children left, my wife would fight me. 75 to 80% of the time. 20% of the time, it was a normal morning. But 75% or 80% of the time, my day started out with nothing more than stress, violence, anger, and negativity. It would persist all the way up until 3 p.m., at which point the boys would come home, and I would then move into dad mode, and I would either drive them places, play games, and the way I had my office set up at home is that Miss Resnick, who works for me, is able to see me outside playing with my kids in case I get a phone call or something like that. So my perfect work environment was already created. This is nothing more than the beta test phase of it so that I can complete it without my children present. My name is Dan Rieses. Please enjoy the next segment. As we continue on, Mr. Resnick, I would like you to complete the tasks that you were working on.
Okay.
Make sure that the emails are open at all times so that you can let me know in real time exactly whether or not we need to take a break and talk about a sensitive matter first before we film.
Okay.
And from now on, I would like to really refer to this process as work, not filming. We're not filming anything. We are documenting a legitimate, very highbrow, very intelligent, and extremely important process that allows human beings to see the future of what a world with artificial intelligence looks like. What value will they bring to the table when they enter into the business world? Right here. Right here, if you have a chance, please understand that what you're about to see is some of the most important educational content delivered to you by a human being who simply has his head cut off, apparently. Just give me 1 second, let me adjust the camera. Ah, it's so much better. So, in short, I'm extremely lucky that I have an assistant to do the administrative tasks for me. My inability to communicate with her really stems from the stress that both she and I are going through. We both have had our kids taken away from us. Please understand that if we're able to do this with the stresses of having our kids taken away from us and being alienated from us for no reason other than the fact that we are going against human beings who have stolen tens of millions of dollars from us, and rather than being silenced, we have chosen to file federal litigation that is both very much real and we will very much win on something called motions for summary judgment. Prior to filing for motions for summary judgment, there needs to be a form of communication both to the courts and to our adversaries. The biggest issue that I find in this entire matter is that our society is totally okay with me not being around my children. All the other matters are finance related, and the motivation for everyone's actions are very clear. But the one part of my life that I do not understand is that I am currently in domestic violence court. I was assaulted for over 5 years straight. I documented thousands of incidents. I showed 20-something of them in court. I have never struck my wife back. I have never struck anyone. I have never, that's not true. I've been in street fights, but I'm saying I've never harassed anyone. I've never brandished a weapon. I've never sent defamatory text messages that are not part of a fight. I have been in many text fights. That does not mean that I go out of my way to stalk people or send text messages. I am just extremely good at being able to send certain types of words that'll put your head in a spin. That is not a criminal act. That is a human that's more intelligent than you. Human beings need to understand that just because you have more money than me, that doesn't mean you need to be able to utilize that money to break the law in order to have a strategic advantage over me. That's the complete opposite of what the system is designed for. Here we go. Let's take a look at my to-do list and let's get a few things out of the way very quickly. First and foremost, I have no interest in being famous. I have already achieved the level of fame that is above being famous. It's called being infamous. That is when you are more than famous. What are you gonna do? Okay? There is the fourth little pig, there's the fourth amigo, and there's the Fourth Reich. And the reason why I say that is because they're very different. The third one, you didn't even think I was going to go there. The Fourth Reich, oh my God. Are we talking about the rebirth of Hitler? No, what we're talking about is logic. And here's a dose of logic for all of you historians out there that seem to not really understand that a 96-mile, 4-foot wide, 25-foot high, solid concrete wall cannot be built without the coordination and unified work environments between the United States and Russia between 1945, which was the end of the war, and 1961, August 13th, 1961, which happens to be my birthday, in 1982, relax. And it's 22 years later. And those coincidences really come together in something called the number 23. And in the movie, the number 23, one can clearly see that a human being who is suffering from trauma will look for math as an escape. And there's something called the 23 Enigma. And I want everyone to know that that is a part of a magic trick. There is no such thing as the 23 Enigma, just like there's a 24 Enigma or 25 Enigma. I can show you after a human being watches the movie, the number 23, and if there's a human being out there that chooses to say, I would like to watch the movie number 23 with me, I would love to see it again because it's extremely important. Now, one thing you must realize is that right now what I'm going to do is go through my to-do list and I'm going to isolate and maximize my work capacity. So let's take a little quick break and we'll go to the next one. Right now, I am, yeah.
Would you like me to interrupt you if something comes in, or do you want me to talk about it, or you?
So
What
we
kind of
can't,
protocol?
we, thanks for asking. We must be able to communicate off camera first and then transition into work, meaning that communication that we read and discuss is not really work. Work is effort put forth in the resolution of a problem. Being read a problem or discussing a problem doesn't constitute as work. So let's take a break from work. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So give me 1 second. Let
Sure.
me do a little bit of work really quickly, and let me get a letter out in order to show that maximum capacity and efficiency are not just buzzwords in business school. In reality, they're extremely important to adhere to if you want to be successful. I personally will be starting close to half a dozen projects come the springtime or today. It depends on how you want to look at it. So here we go. Let's go through the to-do list. Respond to Drake's math teacher. On that one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write MPM. It's a project that I'm working on by introducing an initiative to rename Mount Pleasant Middle School to Mr. Petrick Middle School. That will allow the printed materials of MPM to remain the same. It would honor a true role model, and in the world of education, especially elementary education or pre-collegiate education, 12 K through 12, I would say that there's about no more than 15% of the educators are men. Would you say that's true?
50% of all.
No.
What? What'd you say?
No. You're working. It's totally okay. This
Okay.
whole thing is designed absolutely perfectly. All you have to do is ask me the question again.
Okay, can you ask me the question again?
Would you say that the statement of no more than 15% of the educators of K through 12 are men?
I think that's pretty good. Yes? Yeah.
Which makes a huge disparity since the student body is 53% women and 47% men. So the disparity in that really stems from the sheer fact that just like Guy Fawkes in Meet the Parents, the traditionality and the lack of support for male educators in a world that's dominated by men climbing over one another for the almighty dollar, an unsung hero of our society is an educator. One of the reasons why I'm not producing or releasing some of the most amazing videos that I've made is that they feature the Livingston Police Department doing some really head-scratching things. But it was Officer Wagner who interjected in between my wife and myself, brought the items that I was asked to deliver after the Livingston Police Department fumbled on yet another routine requirement. Officer Wagner stepped in and made everyone look good from the Livingston Police Department. That is how you play Daniel's game. You show up, do your job, make yourself and him look good, and you will get what you want. If you don't do that, or at least try to do that and fail, You will find yourself in one of two positions: taking no action, which sometimes is worse than taking action, or taking adverse action, which is going against me, like Officer Domanowski, who pulled me out of my house without shoes on, all because of his relationship with my wife. My entire thanks, I appreciate
Little
that.
updated, thanks.
Okay. What we're gonna do is we're gonna flip this one over and finish up the old one.
Okay.
And one of the things that I would like to express to everyone is that this is really my life stream. My life stream is to be an educator of business while at the same time being with my children and working in an environment that's coherent to revolutionizing the workspace, showing off my brilliance, and being efficient at working. I also want everyone to understand that the real secret sauce will not be filmed, because what I need is a few $1 billion and to raise a small army of lawyers, politicians, and political advisors in order to, I don't know, change the world just a little bit. But so I only can film the parts that I need you to see. And the parts that you need to see are this, all right? Human beings that have really good assistants receive an entire daily to-do list. Let's see how fast I can go through the to-do list in order to maximize my efficiency and allocate the responsibilities of the tasks to myself, but in the time frame that is the most efficient. Here we go. Victoria Caesar's proposal, that one will be EOD, which means end of day. This will be, the next proposal will be EOD. Good work. Did I make this list up or did you make this list up?
Me.
Okay, good work. All judges' letters, that's gonna be next 48 hours. And we're gonna go ahead and, as you can see, I've completed the review, not the tasks, of 4 tasks, and now I have my final format, which means that one letter that I write to a judge or a politician, 1 business proposal / video communication that's in private. So, and the private part of it is not adverse to the reality that I'll be discussing the business. And I would remind everyone that this is social media. I have 95,000 followers on a different platform. If you want to be impressed by numbers, you need to be unimpressed by my numbers and only look at me as a human being, because the brain in today's modern society will judge the content of what they're watching solely on those numbers that are right below. So when you see how few people actually have subscribed to my channel and look at the quantity of content, you are supposed to, if you are an individual who is blind to reality and are affected by the butterfly in your brain known as social media, you're supposed to be turned off by what I'm saying. If you're a human being that's tired of the lies and understand that what you're looking at is not true in 100% of everything except this channel, you will then be very much refreshed by how few people are following me, yet I continue to film the content on a level that increases my capacity and becomes smarter and smarter on a daily basis. That is because this channel and this content is designed for the future, not the present and surely not the past, which is why the numbers for everyone that you're watching are fake. They're not real. The human beings that are real are only the human beings that are in your life. What I have done is so remarkable that it's going to take me a few weeks to actually express what I've done in this format. The format will not change. This is the way it is for a very long time, other than when I step outside of the house. Those are the vignettes that go in between these things. Here we go. Drake's Barbecue. This one is important. This one is also going to be EOD. So as you can see, we have a full stacked day of office work. So right now is 11:15. Sometime at around 11 o'clock, we're going to hit the ground running. Tell the full story. What on earth does that mean?
That was your note.
That's my note.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to asterisk this one so I could think about it a little bit.
Sure.
Apple Store and Verizon. What I'm going to do on that one is I'm going to do motions. this is the end of phase one, so I no longer will communicate with employees that are designed to follow scripts in order to block retail customers from reaching this mantle, the core, the upper crust of the decision-making process. Litigation is the only form of communication the large corporations are able to respond to, because personal responsibility, unlike the number 23, is not something that individuals who earn hundreds and thousands of dollars in order to run these billion-dollar conglomerates are able to do. So rather than wasting my time going into stores and trying to explain my situation, I'm going to utilize the invention that I've created, which I call Go Amateur, but in reality, what it is a streamlined form of communication where one intelligent individual can prove or disprove, depending on which position you want to take, the validity of the statements that I make are made by me. The work that I produce is mine. I have nothing more than a few employees that are working for not money, but equity in the company and for the greater good of humanity. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, behind every movie you've watched, very few of them humans are motivated by money, except for heist movies, bank robbery movies, or finance-related movies, which are the core issue behind the confusion caused by people in my life that have decided to put an arbitrary monetary value for me in their life. That is not just painful, it has taken me years to really accept, understand, and be able to be myself, irregardless of the circumstances. Apple Store and Verizon, and that's the motions. Aaron's discovery affidavit of merit. You know what, Jamie? It's 11 o'clock right now. If we're able to, how do you feel today?
Good.
Till what time can you work?
9?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
That's a lot of hours.
Well, we have a lot of work to do.
I know, but this one can. I've got like 5 more items on the first to-do list.
Okay.
So before I even go into the second
Yeah,
to-do list,
we have a lot of work. Let's do it.
I'm gonna. Is there a due date on this one, on the Aaron's discovery affidavit of merit? I want to try to resolve this case via a few work motions and try to remind them
Well,
of the catastrophic results that will come
So
out.
we sent a letter to the you had sent a letter to the judge asking for an extension for discovery because you don't have access to your office and a lot of our files.
Why don't we just
Are there
give them the discovery and ask for their discovery? Why can't we
like
just
what we have, the
Yeah.
limited discovery?
Yeah, let's just.
Sure.
Why don't we
I
just
don't
be in
know.
compliant with everything, and then demand for the reciprocatory action, and then have the judge see that our cards are on the table. This is what we have. This is our reasoning behind it. This is our discovery. Here are the court orders that are a direct result of Mr. Aaron's negligence. Here is the affidavit of merit from Ms. Resnick of what she had to experience as the wife of Jared Resnick. All of that stuff, okay?
Okay.
Is Jared on that lawsuit? Is Jared being sued on that
On
lawsuit?
that one, not yet.
On the Aaron's one?
Not he hasn't been added to the complaint yet.
So he's a witness, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I think that's a good opportunity. Just I'll notch it too, but let's try to do our best to remember that we live in a community. Even though these human beings have lost their humanity, that doesn't mean that we will. And let's try to do our best to spend the rest of the day trying to resolve the conflicts so that later on, when we file for motions for summary judgment,
Okay.
their response cannot be that this is a frivolous filing.
Right.
So a frivolous filing would really not have the strong effort that I'm putting forward in resolving the conflicts by presenting the evidence and the discovery that I have, should they not want to engage, or they say like, why do you believe that you're owed, or any of
Okay.
that. But when human beings do not even want to talk to you about resolving the conflict, they don't have the ability to point and say that I'm misusing the courts in any way. Meaning that by lack of virtue and lack of reciprocatory communication to resolve a conflict, to not have taxpayer dollars pay the burden of our inability to resolve our conflict, it's extremely important. Bayesian. That's the word.
Bayesian?
Yeah. Anyone that's watching this
I never
understand.
can say it.
All right. Aaron's Discover Merit. This one I would say we're done because we've shifted focus and we have a direct action item
Yep.
that we're going to do.
Yep, I have my note.
Oil change, wipers, and car wash. You're not getting a car wash, but especially because we're going to be utilizing as a workspace, and you'll see that throughout the entire process.
You're not getting it.
Oil change, windshield wipers.
No car wash for you.
Doctor. So now that I have health insurance, it's extremely important for everyone to understand that the entire concept of mental health has been weaponized and illegally used against me by virtue of complete ignorance of the fact that I have ADD and ADHD. I'm a hyper guy. I move a mile a minute. And rather than recognizing the good that I've done in my life by being an adult living with a disability, I am laughed at, made fun of, and stories are invented about things I didn't do, all because I talk very quickly and I am aggressive in both business and my communication against bullies. Those are the only two things that I'm aggressive at. Everything else, I'm a very kind-hearted, level-headed individual. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you're a very kind-hearted, level-headed individual.
Go through Amazon cart. Jamie, let's split the list up on personal items versus work-related items so that when I'm on camera and I'm working, see, even I made a mistake. It's going to take a couple of weeks to get this right. Litigation overhaul, remove ad. This is an EOD project. This is going to be where we do first step. And eBay items to ship. I mean, Jamie, this is going to require federal injunctions to be in place.
Yeah, I know.
We're talking about family court and human beings that are just openly destroying businesses. So tortious interference of business. You had mentioned to me that you wanted to file a motion for summary judgment against Mallory, given the circumstances
Yes.
of her lack of cooperation in the eBay business.
Yes, and yes.
So I will be presenting 101 images of Mallory and Jamie that I have in my personal possession, and an affidavit of merit and a declaration so that my boys can see the truth about what's going on. And I want my children to understand that the channel is not meant for them to watch while they're little kids, 10 and 11 years old, 10 and 12 years old, but rather to have them, I mean, technically Pierce is still 9, but April 8th is around the corner, and he's been through a lot, and he's an extremely kind-hearted, mature individual. Please understand that humans that look at children completely forget that one day they will be adults. I know it's a concept that's very difficult for most people to understand because most people, other than surrogates and educators, do not interact with children unless they are the children's parents. A parent does not want their child to grow up, so in their mind, they will not recognize that they're speaking to a little adult. I've recognized this. I have never baby talked my children. I have communicated directly with them. And on that note, I will tell them a very quickly dad joke, golf edition. Why don't golfers ever eat pie, Jamie?
I don't know why, Dan.
They're just so afraid of getting a slice.
All right, that was a little bit better.
See, I have to change the joke is actually what's written on the card is just in case they get a slice. And you can tell that this is done by artificial intelligence. And you could tell that there's no human being that went through this, especially not a dad and especially not someone that plays golf. Because anyone that plays golf would say, just in case they get a slice. Well, getting a slice is not like getting a bad hand of poker. You do it yourself. You don't get a slice. You hit a ball, that's a slice. So the actual American language is misused in the context of the punchline. That in itself ruins the entire joke. So unless I'm able to change it, Jamie doesn't laugh.
True.
And that's the way the world works. And that's what I'm proud to do for my children. I will change the world so that they're happy and they laugh, and I will change myself to be a better man on a daily basis by showing them that true strength and character doesn't lie in muscles or money. It lies within. It is the heart of a man or a lion, and it is the brain of a real father that requires you to have something called a pair of balls. And you don't need to be a man to go through this. But please understand that in the entire country, there is no recorded incident of one case where a victim of domestic violence had their home and their children taken away from them by no legal basis other than the fact that they put away into prison the ringleader of the corrupt judges and politicians that are at the heart of Essex County. They are the people that make the decisions on billions of dollars of taxable revenue, and they alone have contributed with my ex-wife to create a set of circumstances that would put a good father who has done nothing but a quarter of a century of paying every bill and every expense imaginable. You can Google my name. There's not a single person amongst all of their lawsuits that accuses me of taking their money. I have never stolen a single thing of material wealth from any human being I do business with or that I try to interact or sell something to. I assure you. That doesn't mean that in the past I haven't inadvertently shoplifted. I am a human being who has made mistakes in a long history of doing things. One of the reasons why I find myself in this position is because, unlike the majority of both the audience and the people that are going against me, I am not afraid to do things. I have done so much in my life that I am barely 44 years old, and I have done the work of about a 200-year-old. The reason for that is because I refuse to give up until I get what I want. And my children have been taken from me, which means that I will raise an army and make a lot of money and do it in a very calm and coherent way. It will take me months, if not years, to do this. But please understand that once it's done, it'll be done on behalf of the millions of other men and women that find themselves at a complete disadvantage by not having been born to a family of money. 90% of the time when human beings get divorced and the finances are not balanced, where one human has a lot more resources than the other human, that is only because their support system reverts to their childhood and supports their separation via giving them money for legal expenses and their lifestyle, whereas the other person in the dynamic does not have that. That is done. My system of both pro slay and what I'm doing has eliminated this. But please remember that the majority of the people that I'm going against would rather hurt children than come to a table and come to an amicable resolution. In my opinion, that is one of the biggest red flags for a mental disorder, when a human being is much more interested in hurting children, a la Michael Jackson or some other type of people that just simply hurt children. You see, pi is an amazing thing because mathematically speaking, it's applicable, but in reality, there is no way to slice it. And when you make something called not humble pie, it's not anti-Semitism, but it's not humble pie. It's not humble pie. And I need to eat a slice of not humble pie because I've been extremely nice, naive, and loving in the context of both having my children taken away and all of my property and businesses being destroyed by the person who I've given a quarter of a century of my life, and every single penny that I've made went directly to her. For almost a decade, every check that I've made in Perfect Pawn was deposited directly into Mallory's account, which I don't even think I looked at. I am not lying. It is extremely difficult to keep an emotional state of calmness during a time where I know for a fact that human beings that have both broken the law and paid attorneys an exuberant amount of money are taking my children hostage so that I stop filming content and I am silenced. Rather than adhering, like the general that I described, I put my entire army to the side and I am standing up here alone on YouTube. I assure you, no one knows what's coming in the next 48 hours but me, and your jaws would absolutely drop, and whether or not I release it, that doesn't mean that it didn't happen in the next 48 hours. Please understand that the content does not go up until approximately 11 o'clock tonight. And, you know, Jamie, I gotta be honest with you. The remote disappeared. Oh, sorry. I'm just kidding. You see, when I used to live with Mal, I used to freak out when I didn't have things not because I didn't have the things, it's because I was so afraid of the fight that's coming on with the lack of understanding of how important my accessories are to me. Being able to live alone, because I'm not in a romantic relationship with Jamie, I'm simply nothing more than homeless and crashing with her so that I can restabilize my life. I'm doing nothing wrong. The entire purpose of my relationship was to create two beautiful children and to build a life of love, stability, harmony, while having a good time and staying young. Because both my wife and I are young, good-looking, intelligent human beings, and it is not my choice to continue this conflict. But because of her inability to both communicate and be honest, I am continuously stuck in an endless loop. So to get out of that loop, I have invented this system that simply cannot be disproven, it cannot be broken, nor can anyone ever go against anything I'm saying, because the process is not only documented, it is shown on a nightly basis that the work that I'm doing that is ever perceived as negative is nothing more than both reactionary and legally sound mind and body grounded. And the reason why I say this is because the people going against me hide in the shadows, commit crimes against me, and then when I respond to it, they utilize my emotional state of anger to show that I am not mentally fit for a coherent response. By showing the entire process, I pull the bullies out of the shadows, and they no longer can hide behind a veil of illegal, overpaid attorneys, but rather I am able to pierce the corporate veil, which in my instance with my ex-wife is my father-in-law and my brother-in-law's financial support of my wife in context to cash payments, secret payments, and payments directly to her attorneys, because her attorneys are at the core of her weapons that were utilized against me to destroy everything that I have. It is not a complicated case. The complexity revolves when you have to go to the bathroom and have to look in the mirror and recognize that what you have done has not only contributed to this, you have literally mind-fucked two beautiful boys who have lost their father, all in an effort for Mallory to show how vindictive she is. And my answer to all of this is the 101. 101 images that I will give Miss Resnick access to my photo libraries that she will choose that represent her and Mallory's relationship best. If 101 images over the course of 5 years are not enough to show that what Mallory is saying is a complete lie, and I am telling the truth while having crimes committed against me on an emergent basis on a daily basis, yet rather than responding with an anger or hate or, God forbid, violence, never, 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 boys, never. That is so below you. That is the complete opposite of what mathematicians do, especially cultured ones like ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, I pick up my underwear with my toes. That's how refined I am in my bodily functions and movements. I am not the character that I pretended to be. What you saw on YouTube in primary, especially some of the old content that I would love to go through, really stems around the fact that my goal behind the channel was to make the people that did not love me believe that I'm crazy. I also did a slew of other things, but I felt that it was really cool to be able to display the worst sides of me for 5 years. So for the next 5 years, I could really just relax, be myself, drink a Celly. I don't drink Celly, nor does anyone understand the reference. It's from Platonic. And that's what Jamie and I, that's our relationship. It's Platonic. Boys, if you happen to be watching this, Platonic means non-sexual. But in our world, human beings like Mallory, Jordan, Jason, Jared, who's Jason? No one, right? We have no conflicts. It's all these J's.
I know Jason. I think we were talking about a Jason.
They don't realize that when they picked up the phone and started looking at the phone while in a private room, like in bed with their husband or wife, that is the equivalent of cheating on them. If they recognize that my behavior on YouTube is a constitution of cheating, which means that I've been cheated on for over a decade, since Mallory has become addicted to Instagram, maybe a decade and a half, while Jamie was cheated on by virtue of the text messages that her ex-husband sent to his boyfriends. When I say boyfriends, same thing as when girls call each other girlfriends. Jared has boyfriends. He proved that by sending text messages not in a group, but individually. And the reason why he sent them individually is because there's a privacy and a sexuality that is embedded within the context of routine and ordinary communications, which means that there is excitability. And excitability really stems from a slew of sexual identity misuse. And ladies and gentlemen, please understand that you will see this content at the end of the night, which will feature the brilliance of the Meta Corporation and the glasses that they've created, as well as several videos that will be filmed via Go Amateur. My Go Amateur system allows the closest to what I'm able to describe, because with the Go Amateur you could download the file directly onto your phone and post it directly onto YouTube, while at the same time maintaining continuity and keeping the core of the context of the seed that you're trying to convey, so that your various forms of both artificial intelligence and your assistants are able to truly maximize on each and every word you say and to avoid redundancies. I am a professional boss, and this channel teaches every human being what to do should they want to start their life and restart it as a boss.